Welcome, everyone. This is a special meeting of the Conejo Open Space Conservation Agency, November 14th, 2018. Please join me in the salute to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May we have the roll call, please?
Director Bill de la Pena.
Present.
Director Fox.
Here.
Director Huffer. Yes. Director Jones. Chair Skay.
Here.
All are present, except with the exception of Director Jones. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a quorum. I don't see any public comments on matters not on the agenda, so we'll go on to the consent calendar, which is the minutes of September 12th. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other comments? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Very good. Our next item is consideration of resolution declaring and affirming the declaration of a local emergency and rendering certain emergency orders for COSCA open space. And why don't we have a staff report, and then I do have a speaker card on this item.
Thank you, Chair Skay. Good evening. On November 8th, the city experienced two devastating fires known as the Hill and Woolsey fires. As a result, City Manager declared a state of local emergency for both fires on November 8th and 9th. Under the State Emergency Services Act, declaration of a state of local emergency provides emergency powers to local officials, in addition to liability protections and eligibility to apply for state and federal financial assistance. Government Code Section 8630 requires that a declaration of a state of emergency be confirmed by a resolution of the governing body of the agency within 7 days of the initial declaration. Thousand Oaks City Council executed such a resolution at last night's council meeting for both Hill and Woolsey fires. Staff is requesting that this board affirm and issue its own independent declaration of local emergency for all COSCA-owned and managed open space and adopt the attached resolution. Thank you. Staff is available for questions.
Do we have questions before we go to our speaker? If not, Claudia, go ahead.
I wanted to find out if we know how much of our open space has burned.
Thank you, Director Bill de la Pena. A quick analysis this morning shows that it was about 5,741 acres.
So about a third. Okay. All right. Thank you. Stephen Johnson, please come to the podium over here.
Thank you very much. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Steve Johnson. I'm the leader of a meetup group that does hiking in the Santa Monica Mountains. The meetup group has approximately 1,900 members, and we conduct something like 5 hikes a week with attendees in the 10 to 25 attendee range. It's a free, we volunteer. There's no charge to any participants. We really love the outdoors, and we really appreciate all of the fine work that you do in stewardship of the fabulous trail system here in Thousand Oaks in the Conejo Valley. So I want to express my thanks first of all to you. Secondly, I support the declaration, but I support it with, and I certainly understand the motivations for the declaration. I certainly understand the liability concerns, and also very much understand the financial impact. But I would urge the group here to look at this in terms of triaging the local trails. clearly there are trails that have been severely damaged, and those mainly lie within the fire line boundary. There are trails that may also have been damaged within the evacuation boundary, but there are also clearly trails that have not been damaged that are outside both. I cite, for instance, the Potrero open space trails that are completely intact, the Las Robles and Las Padres trails that, as far as I can tell from outside looking in, are completely intact. And I hope that this group makes those trails at least available to the community, a larger community of people who make use of these resources on a daily basis. I'd also like to volunteer the leadership team of our meetup group in particular, who has lots of experience, 500 plus hikes in this area, to go out and survey, given any criteria that you care to express to us to do so. I understand that may not be acceptable. That's fine. I'm here to volunteer. And again, I trust in you to do the best in the community for the long run, whatever your decision is, whether or not you take any of my words into account. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Johnson. Obviously, this is a matter where it's very early, and rangers and staff need to look at all the trails and all the open space. And we're finding the entire Santa Monica Mountains virtually, over 80% is burned. So all the agencies are going to be struggling with this and opening when it's safe and closing when we need to. Any other comments from? Yes.
My question would be, do we have an idea when we might be reopening some of the trails? I know Los Robles Trail near my house we wanted to walk the dog, but we can't because it's closed.
Yeah, in this very preliminary time period, it isn't just a factor of where there is a burn area or not a burn area. The limited number of rangers are right now focusing their energy in areas related to the burn, and anybody that needs assistance in the open space area, there's not going to be that ranger availability. Our resources are kind of focused elsewhere, and they are spending time trying to do the assessment. There are, more so than fires I can recall in many, many years, more actual down to the ground oak trees. A lot of times they do withstand the flash fires that blow through, but we do have a lot that have actually fallen onto trails or are precariously perched above trails. So there's a lot of that analysis that has to happen, and the rangers are the ones doing some of that work, so they aren't able to patrol or be in the other areas. But we are sensitive to the fact that folks do want to get back out into the trails, and we will, be very sensitive to that in the coming, week or weeks ahead to try to get people back out there. Absolutely.
Thank you. For besides the rangers going out to patrol areas or analyze areas, are we also using technology such as drones to see what might need to be done?
I don't know that we are using drones right now. I believe we are using some technology to analyze the burn in certain slope areas to have a good sense of what happens when the rains come and what that means for burned areas. So that's actually a lot of our energy is going to be focused in that area as part of the recovery and moving forward, preparing for what will hopefully be some rains, light rains.
Right. We are on. Forgive me. We're on the special meeting agenda for this item. So, since we're already talking about it, do I have a motion for item 6A? Second. Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Yes, Director Huffer.
Just a comment on Mr. Johnson's comments that item number 5 in the resolution. I'm not a lawyer, but the way I read it, the resolution does close all COSCA space effective approval of the resolution, is my understanding, but it would not preclude the chief administrative officers, whether it's tomorrow or next week or whenever, to go through and start reopening certain trails. I don't think that'd be contrary to the resolution. So
That is correct. So it delegates that authority to the chief administrators for COSCA to make that assessment, and if they determine it's safe for the public to use, then they can lift those closures.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition or abstentions? That passes. Thank you. We will go back over to our regular agenda. And we have presentations on COSTAC. No? Okay. Okay, I have a November. That's the wrong one. Thank you. So we'll go. It is the special meeting. All right, great. Thank you. So the next item would be the Board of Directors meeting schedule.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The COSCA Board of Directors meetings are held quarterly on the second Wednesday of the month, with special meetings scheduled as needed. The proposed regular meeting dates for 2019 are February 13th, May 8th, September 11th, and December 11th.
I just want to say all those dates look good for me.
I do have a question, though. Thank you. I have a question regarding December 11th, 2019. Obviously, that's a Wednesday, and I'm just assuming that the reorganization will take place on the 10th, the night before, and I'm not sure whether we will be swearing in a new person. Is that something? Well, yeah, but still, I'm just wondering. But does that matter? It does.
It's a little tight with respect to making the.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, with respect to making the appointments, not sure whether that's enough time.
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent point. So
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and revisit that.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Otherwise, the calendar looks fine to me. Okay. Any board member comments? Sidebars here. So this is not an action. This is just an information. All right, fine. Any board member comments? No. Staff, do you have anything that you need to? No. All right. We do.
Yeah. Let me just. I'm going to. I think I'd be remiss. I don't know this for a fact, but just my good judgment tells me that it wasn't just the firefighters and the police officers, but the Rangers probably had a thing or two to do during these
oh God, yes.
These wildfires, and we've been remiss because I haven't been mentioning them by name in my media briefs, but for whatever it's worth, I want to just pass on to staff the great work that the Rangers have done and continue to do. They're sworn to, and they have a tough job, and a lot of what they do goes unnoticed other than by some of the staff people and the folks. So I just want to, I know everybody shares that. Just thank the Rangers for their great job that they do in keeping the folks that are in the open space, homeless encampments, some of those other things. That really, those folks are at risk in a firestorm, and so just want to thank.
Thank you. Nadia.
And my comment is simply, I know we visited your retirement already at the last COSCA meeting, but tonight is officially, really, truly your
Really
last
and
COSCA
truly your
meeting.
last meeting.
So, again, I wanted to thank you very much for your 24 years of service on COSCA, because the open space is near and dear to your heart. Appreciate that.
Hear, hear. Indeed. We do have a request for a closed session. Yes. Felicia, would you read the notice?
Yes, Chair Skay, thank you. So request a closed session, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Operating Engineers Funds Incorporated versus the City of Thousand Oaks, case number 56-2017-00504-680-CU-OR-VTA, pursuant to Government Code Section 45956.9A. I don't anticipate having anything to report out of the conclusion of closed session.
All right. So we will adjourn to the next. We can stay here. All right. Well, we shall stay here, and our next regularly scheduled meeting is February 13th.